Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone Podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode of the Fanzone Podcast. Back with you once again, episode 65. It's back-to-back episodes we're treating you. And tonight is a very, very, very special one. We're, of course, joined by Gethin Jones. How are you doing, Geth?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We're all looking forward to it, and it goes without saying, but thank you very, very much for joining us. We massively appreciate it.
No problem at all.
So, if you're watching along at home and you're looking forward to this one just as much as we are, then let us know in the chat. But we will kick off this evening's episode. So we've got a bit of a ritual that when we get a new guest on, we always ask them the same question. But we're going to put a bit of a festive twist on it. So we'd usually ask you what's on your plate for a full English, but in a true Christmas spirit. What's on your plate for a Christmas dinner?
Oh, I don't really like turkey, so turkey's a no for me.
Too dry.
Yeah, no, it is. We normally bring, well, my dad and stuff brings like duck or like lamb or something different every year, to be fair. And then I'll have pretty much everything, but obviously can't eat too much on Christmas Day because obviously with the games on Boxing Day, which is a bit annoying. But no, I normally like everything, like obviously your stuffing, red cabbage, like carrots, your roasties. I'm not really a mash person. I'd rather just have extra roasties, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about sprouts, Gaff?
Do you know what? I actually don't mind sprouts.
Love a
You
sprout.
you can make them nicer as well, can't you? You can like obviously like myself, like making like a Sunday dinner, like I'll like glaze some honey on carrots and stuff and stick that in the oven, so you can always make something a little bit different.
Make it
So
a
I
bit
do the same
posher.
with- Sorry?
Make it a bit posher.
Took some bacon lines in it.
Extra little bit of taste, yeah. But no, I like everything, to be fair. But obviously, got to watch how much on Christmas Day.
Is it not a bit risky having too many sprouts on Christmas Day when you're playing on Boxing Day? We all know what sprouts do.
You'll keep the strikers away from him, though. What?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a proper 21st century, it's like a modern day footballer response to that question. And I have to be careful what I
Watch
eat.
what I eat.
Yeah, you have to. It's obviously difficult because obviously normally Christmas Day, like everyone has drinks and so, but it's the sacrifice you take when you become a footballer. You've obviously sacrificed a lot during the season. Like obviously your friends and family will be going out during the season. You can't do all that, and it's the same for Christmas Day. Like we just got to concentrate for Boxing Day game because obviously Christmas period is obviously a very busy period for football, and it's something we've got to do on Christmas Day as well.
You can eat as much as you want when you retire, can't you? To be fair.
Yeah.
You can be as fat as you want, then, can't you?
That's your time, Gaff. That'll be your time.
Right, well, without further ado, we'll get stuck into Angie's quick fire questions.
So we know you've watched a few back, so you know what this round's all about. Just a little icebreaker. Don't overthink it. Just first thing that comes in your head. Nothing too strenuous. So we'll start with sunrise or sunset.
Sunrise.
Night in or night on the tiles.
Night in.
Sweet or savoury.
Savoury.
Playing home or away.
Home.
PlayStation or Xbox.
PlayStation.
Pre-match wearing suits or training gear.
I like suits. Yeah, I like suits.
So 2 international clubs, teams come calling. Australia or Wales?
That's a tough one. I can't answer that one.
It's going no comment.
No comment.
And then the one we end on every time is, who is Gethin Jones's GOAT? Who is your greatest of all time?
probably changed so many times over the years, but I'd have to go with Messi. Especially after the last World Cup, I'd have to go for Messi. Like, I was always Ronaldo growing up and stuff, and I liked the way, like, he was never naturally gifted like Messi. He always had to work hard, and obviously changed the way he played once he left United to go to Real Madrid and stuff. But like, Messi's just different. He's different to everyone else, and yeah, I'd have to say Messi.
Do you think is the perception of him, as people's opinions of him has changed in recent months and since he left United, and his attitude and things like that? Do you reckon that plays a part in people's thought process?
Probably, yeah. And obviously we don't get to see as much of him anymore. Like, obviously we don't get to see much of Messi anymore either because he's in America. But yeah, maybe the things he's done, like in interviews, come out and stuff like that, doesn't help him. But listen, he's gonna speak what he thinks is the truth, and obviously no one knows the inside, what's happening at United and stuff there. But he's obviously come out and said what he thinks. So you've got to respect him in that sense. But obviously it's like caused a bit of controversy, like with a lot of people, and people have started to turn against him.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well,
we're looking forward to getting this one well underway. So once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching along at home. We really appreciate it. And let's get stuck in, shall we?
okay, Geth. So how old were you when you moved to Australia? Can you think back to that time, and where did football start for you? Was it in Australia, or was it more at Wrexham?
No, so my parents went out to live to Australia, and me and my brother was born there in Perth. So I came back when I was 4 from Australia to live in Wales, and the whole reason behind it was my granddad owned a business. He was a builder, and my dad was taking over that business once he retired. My mum never wanted to come back from Australia because obviously the sun, the weather, the lifestyle out there is different. But my dad obviously was like, he had to. So yeah, I came back from Australia when I was 3, and I think the first time I played football was maybe when I was about 5, 6 years old, playing for my local side, Portmaddock, back in Wales.
Excellent.
Jeez. So what happened at Wrexham then? Oh, by the way, I love you, Geth. By the way, so what happened at Wrexham, and how did you end up at Everton?
Honestly, I get asked this a lot, and it's quite strange, really. So, I was never actually at Wrexham that long. I was at Wrexham 2 weeks. I was at Wrexham literally 2 weeks. So
really,
yeah. So obviously, as a youngster, you can like play for like, you know, when you're young, you can run all day and stuff. So yeah, I used to play for Portmaddock, which is my local side back in Wales, on a Saturday, and then on a Sunday, like, there was Bangor Academy, and like the best like kind of players from each club used to get picked to play for this academy. So Bangor Academy used to go on big tournaments. So what happened was we went to Shrewsbury one summer or something, with Bangor Academy, and we played a few big academies like Cardiff and Shrewsbury and stuff. And that's when I started to get like picked up from scouts, because honestly, like back home, like there was so many good players my age, a few lads a year above me and stuff in school, but because it was so far away, they never really got noticed. I was just like quite lucky that I was in a good academy that went to decent tournaments. So I remember going to this tournament in Shrewsbury and doing really well and playing against Cardiff and stuff. And I had about 6, 7 clubs after me after that. And obviously there was Wrexham, which was obviously the lowest club at the time, and it was obviously the closest club to home to me. Obviously I had Everton calling, I had Liverpool and stuff. But I thought, you know what, I'm not going to take a big step. So let's just go to Wrexham first. So I remember being at Wrexham, and the first trial game I was in, I didn't start, maybe came on for like 20 minutes or so. And then the week after, we was playing against Everton, who'd obviously already scouted me about 2-3 weeks before. So I remember playing playing against Everton and then scoring 2 goals against them. I remember walking off the pitch, and then my dad was at the game at the time, and we had like Everton scouts like waiting outside the training ground, Finch Farm. And then my dad like came up to me all shocked, and I was like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Well, that scout who asked me to bring you here 2-3 weeks ago said that they don't want to give you a trial, they just want to sign you."
Really?
Obviously, we didn't know what was happening, because obviously I was under like a 6-week trial with Wrexham and stuff. So we just jumped in the car and came home. And I remember like going to school on the Monday, thinking like nothing of it really, just like going ahead with my day and stuff. And then I remember my dad like calling the school around lunchtime, saying like, "Listen, like, is there any chance we can bring Gethin out of school? Everton are being serious here. They want to meet Gethin halfway. We don't have to drive all the way up to Liverpool, and they want to sign him now." So
Wow.
I remember leaving school at like 2 o'clock and then driving all the way up to, I think I drove up to Bangor, and then we met them halfway, and I just remember signing the papers. And then next minute I was an Everton player, but I was literally 2 weeks before playing for my local side, and obviously started getting these scouts and teams coming for me, and then all of a sudden I took the big step to go to Everton.
Jeez, that's madness.
Yeah.
You're 28 now, Geth?
28, yeah.
So what kind of year we're talking here?
I was 13. So what's that? 15 years ago, 2008.
Right.
Yeah. But obviously the first 2 years at Everton was obviously quite difficult, and like I can't thank obviously my mum and my dad at the time. Like they travelled so much to take me up to training, because we lived like a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours sometimes. And school was very good with me. Obviously, like they let me like leave school half an hour early so we can miss the traffic. We used to travel up like 3-4 times a week. Literally.
There's a real misconception, isn't there, with like North Wales and Liverpool. People seem to think it's like next to each other, don't they? But it's the right trek.
I think it was like 120 miles like one way. So we were doing like 240 miles like there and back, like only training for like an hour and a half and in the car for 5 hours. But then I remember at the end of like being 14, going into under 15s, Everton then turned around and said, "Listen, like the training's going to become more intense, like, and you're probably going to have to move up." So that's when like my mum at the time wasn't really too keen on me moving. Like so young, but like it was something I had to do. So I left home at 14, nearly turning 15, and I then lived with like a Diggs family that Everton sorted out, and then I went to start going to school in Liverpool.
Was that in and around Liverpool itself, or were you on the outskirts of the city?
No, I was in Crosby.
Oh, right, yeah.
So,
nice carrots and all that.
But I loved it. And then obviously made some friends in Liverpool and stuff. And obviously a lot of people, like I myself, like my accent's a bit mixed up. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say.
Yeah, I've lived here obviously quite a few years now. So, but I had to do it, and obviously it's got me.
So, I mean, it was a bit of a harsh welcome to football at such a young age. What did football mean to you then as a 13, 14-year-old? Because obviously you would have been moving out, leaving home and really chucked in at the deep end. So at that age, what did football mean to you?
It meant everything. I just remember like even like my cousins, my younger brother, like my uncles, my dad, like we just loved football. I never really, it's mad because like my family's a bit mixed with who they support. We've got some Everton fans, we've got some Liverpool fans, some Man United, some Man City fans. So I never really had a proper team that I supported. I just loved the game and I just loved football. And obviously when I signed for Everton, that's all I've ever like known ever since is football. And like it's something that I'm hoping if I'm good enough after football continue doing like in coaching and stuff, because that's all I've ever known. Obviously it was really difficult to start off with moving away from home when I was so young. The first few months I really struggled, but I knew like I had to stick with it. I remember there was like numerous times I rang home crying saying like I want to come home and stuff. But I had to do it because I knew if I wasn't doing it, then I wouldn't be playing football now. So that's all I've ever known. I've always loved football and I always will.
So, Geth, after Everton, obviously you had a couple of loan spells and then ended up going to Fleetwood.
Mm-hmm.
How does coming through the ranks at like a big Premier League club like Everton, how did they prepare you for that when you leave those kind of, because they really look after you, don't they, those clubs?
So no, it was good. Like I obviously came through all the age groups and stuff, and obviously when I turned 19, I was privileged to be in the first team squad and made my debut for Everton in the Europa League. And then I think straight after that was like the November time, and then January came around and I was only 19, and then they really started to like say like you need to get like league experience now. You've played first team here, you've trained with the first team quite a bit, you need to go out there and get some experience. So I remember my first loan was Plymouth. I was there 3-4 months, obviously very far for a 19-year-old just to like go straight away, but I loved it. Obviously I only played a handful of games. I think it might have been only 10 games or so, but I loved it down there. Like just moving away from home again. Like doing everything yourself, cooking for yourself, all that. Because even at 18, 19 at Everton, we had a big house, and there was 15 of us that lived in a house, and we had people looking after us. So that was a bit mad. But no, I loved it, and then that's what they going on loan teaches you so much, even away from football, like how to live yourself and stuff. How
to cut your roast potatoes all nice and posh.
That's
and
it.
Money on your carrot.
That's it. So, no, I loved it, and then I think it was just time when I was 22, 23 after I had my loan spell at Barnsley. In the Championship, like playing against very big teams, Newcastle and stuff, and I loved it. And that's when I really started to realise like it was time for me to move on from Everton, because I still had a year left, and they were talking to me about maybe like extending for another year and stuff. But I didn't really want to keep playing 23s football and like just training with the first team every day and playing on a Monday night in Southport, which is what the 23s team did. Don't get me wrong, it was still a very good standard because you were playing against your United 23s and all that every single week and stuff. But just gaining that league experience, like playing against, like I just remember the one game that always sticks out for me was when I was at Barnsley playing against Newcastle. Last game of the season, if Newcastle won and Brighton drew the last game, Newcastle became Championship champions. Do you know what I mean? And that game just stood out for me, just being in that atmosphere in the ground of the day and stuff. And straight after that, I just remember telling my agent, like, I need to go out and prove myself on like the league football level now.
Good that, because a lot of young lads would probably ride it out, wouldn't they? I suppose, and just like sit comfortable in the Premier League environment and all that. So
yeah,
credit's due.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I know a lot of lads, and that's what I always say to lads nowadays when they're like 19, 20 and stuff. Like, just go out and like get experience league football. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my first loan at Plymouth, I was terrible. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't playing great at all, and I came back from it thinking I'll never become a footballer, mate. So, but it's just things like that. I experience it, and then I always say it to young lads nowadays: if you get the chance to go on loan, take it, because there's no point like doing what you're doing now if you're not going to get the chance in the first team for whoever you play for. Just go out and get some experience.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Like, you look at what Traff and Connor did and Shola did last season for us. Yeah. It's got all good experiences for them three, isn't it, really, as well?
Having that fan engagement as well, like, it's completely different, isn't it, playing in a proper stadium with like the fans and watching week in, week out and are really invested in you as you become part of the family as a loan player, and it must be nice to kind of get that back as a player.
100%, yeah, 100%. Like with Connor, obviously Connor had never been on loan before, and I'll be honest, we didn't know much of Connor when he first came in. We never heard anything about him and stuff, and like that season he had with us, like, it was unbelievable, and like the fans loved him. He loved the fans. Like he obviously was disappointed we didn't get promoted, and you never know. Like we were hoping, obviously, if we got promoted and Connor did get the chance to come out on loan again, that he'd come back to us in the championship. But
we all hope that.
that's why he obviously got so upset, because he was probably thinking it himself. You never know, but just for him though, like, he's obviously gained that experience, and obviously he struggled at the start of this season with his back injury or whatever it was, but he's now regularly in the first team there, and like, good on him, because he deserves it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Talent, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like best mates, you two on that right side last season, weren't you?
Yeah,
Hell
no,
of a
I
partnership, wasn't it?
love playing with him. Like, he was a good lad. Like, when he first came in, like, I remember first couple of weeks he just like sat down with me, and he was only 19, and obviously a quiet lad when he first came in, and just spoke to me and asked me like how do you play here and stuff. And I just tried to teach him as much as I could, you know what I mean, and tell him like exactly. And obviously the manager did it. We do so many meetings at training and stuff on how we play, and he bought into it so well, and he was perfect for us.
There's quite a few rumours going around that Liverpool came to watch you lot quite a lot before they sent him on loan. Is there any kind of truth in that, do you think?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It won't surprise me, because to be fair, like, I know a lot of Premier League teams do that nowadays. They obviously go out there, like, obviously they would have heard that Bolton, we played some good football, but they obviously want to see it themselves. So that won't surprise me. No, like, we obviously want to see if it fits his style and if it's perfect for him. And obviously the way we play with high intensity and stuff, playing out from the back, obviously it's something that Liverpool obviously do, and that's why they sent him out on loan to us.
Yeah, I watched him in pre-season when they were, I don't know what country they were playing in Liverpool, but he were playing in kind of like an inverted fullback.
Yeah,
just inside.
Yeah, I think we watched that game as well and the training as well. Yeah, we all watched it. Yeah, because we got.
I can't remember who we were against, to be fair, but it was quite an interesting role for him. I was obviously purely watching him and just kind of watching how he's performing and stuff. But
yeah,
he did all right.
I remember. Yeah, no, I remember he told us all that he was starting in one of the pre-season games, and obviously we've got the TV in the canteen and stuff. So when we were having lunch, we were all like, "Get Connor on." And it was obviously a different kind of role for him again, like something for him to obviously learn and experience again, like that inverted fullback role. And obviously after that, he's obviously struggled with injury, but hopefully he can get back to his feet and hopefully start a lot more games for Liverpool.
I think he needs one loan again next season, mate, in Championship.
Hopefully, yeah.
Not that he's had to take a step back because he's back injured or whatever it is, but I think that would be a good idea for him, to be honest.
Somewhere he knows, somewhere he feels at home.
Yeah,
settle straight in.
Not too far away from Liverpool.
Could happen. So Fleetwood, it didn't really take off for you yet, but you took some time away and went on loan to Mansfield. What was it like at 23, 24 years old, wanting to get that break? I imagine at this stage it's getting quite frustrating for you. You just want continuity and to kick on with your career. What was it like for you at that point?
Yeah, it was frustrating. I remember when I signed for Fleetwood to start off with, I loved it there. Carl Dempsey was there at the same time, and we were doing really well. But that was under Uwe Rosler. He brought me in at Fleetwood, and then obviously towards the end of that season, we struggled, I think, in 5 of the games, and then the chairman just sacked him straight away, and we were all like, "Wow!" Like, because we'd done really well there at Fleetwood for a bit, and then obviously things changed. Joey Barton came in, and like, nothing against Joey, but obviously he just didn't see me in favour.
Sorry, I had to laugh, with him.
He didn't see me, do you know what I mean? So fair enough. Like, listen, like, every manager can see every player differently, and he was like, after I remember playing the first few games, and then straight away after he said, like, "I think you're not in my plans." Yeah, just straight up like that, and he said it to a few of us, which is fair enough. Yeah. Listen, it happens in every club. Like, manager will come in, and if you've started every game under the other manager, you might not. It doesn't guarantee that you're playing under this new manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, every manager, every footballer, every fan has their own way and view of football. So it happens, and then obviously it was frustrating because I had to obviously go on loan to Mansfield. I loved it there though. I loved it. Started like getting minutes again. Got into the playoffs with Mansfield in League Two. And and then came up against Josh Sheehan's Newport in the semi-finals, and he knocked us out on penalties. So I was devastated about that. But yeah, it was frustrating because I still had another 2 years at Fleetwood. So after that season, I still had another 2 years, but I knew I was going to go back in pre-season at Fleetwood, and I knew what the answer was going to be anyway. However well I did at Mansfield, I knew I was going to just go back to pre-season and probably leave, which is difficult because obviously you're driving into your work and you know you're not in favour straight away before even getting in the car in the morning. So that was difficult. But then I just remember concentrating on myself and concentrating on fitness, and then Fleetwood and us came to an agreement that I could come out of my contract and stuff, and I then became a free agent. And to be honest with you, it was so difficult at the time. I just took 2-3 weeks out of football. I had clubs ringing me, and I didn't want to do anything for 2-3 weeks. I was just from going straight from Everton for 10-11 years to then going to Fleetwood, and things just changed quickly in 18 months. And I just thought, what's happened here? I'm now a free agent. And I always think back, mad because I was a free agent 18 months after leaving Everton, but I still had nearly 2 years left at Everton. So I could have still played for Everton during that whole time.
Wow.
But I took the chance to obviously go away to prove myself.
Yeah.
And that was the most frustrating bit because I felt like I didn't really get the actual chance where I did go. No disrespect to any manager or anything, but I didn't feel like myself. I didn't get a chance. So I just took a few weeks out of football, and then my best mate, Louis Gray, at the time, he was at Everton with me, played for Carlisle. And then I remember the assistant manager at Carlisle ringing me one day saying, just come up, no pressure, just come and train. And then I spoke to my agent, was like, listen, I'm going to do it because my best mate's up there. I'll have a little car school going, meet in Preston, drive up, and just enjoy football again. And then I was there literally 2 days, and the manager said, we want to sign you, but no pressure, because they knew my situation. My mate obviously told them I was in the right space of mind at the time, but I just thought, listen, I've enjoyed the 2 days I've been here, and I want to sign.
I'll tell you what, Geth, you've put some miles in you, haven't you?
Yeah.
Australia, in Plymouth, it's Carlisle.
Up and down the bloody country.
That's why I've had to change my car every 2 years.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah.
I've ruined them.
PCP not going like you, are they? Put your mileage limit on, and you're not going about 45,000 miles over it.
No, that was tough because I had to stay up in Carlisle 3 times a week. They had a house up there just outside the stadium that a few of us could stay in. But that was just something I just wanted to enjoy football again, because I felt like at that age, like I said, I was getting frustrated. I started to fall out of love in football.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want that to happen. So I literally said to myself, wherever I go next, because I had League One clubs after me. I had League One clubs ringing me up saying we'd like you to come here and stuff. But I didn't want to go to another League One club again and not play, and then being oh bloody hell, and then back to square one.
Yeah.
I knew if I went to Carlisle, the manager said, listen, you'll play every single minute that you're fit for me. So I was perfect. So I really enjoyed it, and then obviously COVID hit. So then the season obviously finished.
But as a whole, though, Geth, that was a largely successful time, though, wasn't it? I think you made, was it 30 appearances for Carlisle?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
I loved it.
I presume you looked at that and thought, this is me settled now. I'm kind of I'm comfortable with this club or this level, or what was your thought process at that time?
No, I loved it. Every game I was fit, I played there, and obviously when I first went there was Stephen Presley, and then he got sacked, and then Chris Beach came in, and I loved it. And obviously COVID hit. And obviously we had 3-4 months of doing nothing. And obviously my first thought was, when the season comes back, I'm going to go back to Carlisle, obviously. But that's when obviously our gaffer now, Everton, obviously signed for Bolton. And I knew Matthew Gilks, the keeper coach, obviously, at Fleetwood, because I was at Fleetwood with him.
Of course. Yeah.
and he put a word in for me, and then Everett said that he'd seen me play before, and I just got a phone call out of nowhere saying like, we want you to come to Bolton, and then I just said, I'm not going back to Carlisle. Anyway.
What's your not within the questions that we were looking to ask you, but Bolton related? Like, what's your like childhood kind of memory? Obviously, one just because you quite clearly just jumped at the opportunity. Is that because you grew up as a Premier League football fan and you used to those type of thing?
Yeah, obviously like JJ Kocher, and you just remember like Gary Speed, like obviously being Welsh and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember Gary Speed, you just remember like Kevin Davis, Kevin Noel, you remember all them great players and all the good games that they were obviously back then the Reebok Stadium. But I obviously as soon as Bolton came in and the manager came in to sign me, I couldn't turn it down. Like I knew it was a massive club, and I've loved every single minute since.
Because MJ was saying to us that he were actually was it in a box, did he say, or in the away end with Liverpool at some point? He
was sponsored box, wasn't he?
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to go to a game, or
No, I didn't, because obviously as soon as pre-season started, I was just straight in. So I didn't get to do any of that. But I remember MJ texting me like 2 weeks before he actually signed, saying, "Geth, like your manager's interested in signing me." I said to him, "Don't be silly, like you're coming." You know what I mean? Like you're coming. Don't. So I remember him saying to me that he was coming to one of our games and stuff. And then I think it was Leyton Orient at home, it might have been. He came to watch us play, and then on the Monday he'd signed. So it was good to have MJ over here.
Yeah, I bet.
Brilliant.
Just before we go any further, we've had a message in the chat from Lucy asking for a shout out. Geth, you might know who they are.
Oh, Lucy.
So we've got to give a shout out to Guest family with Chris, Sandra, Emily, Lewis, and Lucy. Thank you all very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you all with us.
Sorry, so, I'm lost here. I know it doesn't take much for me to get confused. What's the connection there?
So it's my missus's cousin and her auntie and stuff. They're from like Bolton originally. Well, I think her auntie's from Wales. Who obviously then moved over to Bolton. Has a family, and then so she's got 2 cousins in Bolton, yeah.
And I think it was thanks to Lucy that we kind of managed to get in touch with you.
That's it.
So you came over to Bolton, and obviously you knew Jilks and Everett had been in touch. How did you find your first how did you bed in at Bolton? How did you fit in with the squad? Because obviously it must have been a pretty massive project that Everett was looking to build. How did you buy into that? How did he get you on board?
It was very different. Obviously, the club were going through a rebuild and stuff. And obviously, when you sign for new clubs, normally the squad, they all know each other, and you're the one that's trying to get to know everyone. But I remember walking into the change rooms, and I think they might have been in pre-season a week. So they've been with each other maybe 5-6 days. I remember walking in, and no one was hardly talking to each other because there was obviously 20 brand new players like in the changing rooms. No one really, maybe 1 or 2 have played together like before. But other than that, everyone was new. So we were all trying to get to know each other, which probably, in fairness, like explains why we didn't really start so well in the season that year. Which is really difficult. Really difficult.
You can skip past that bit if you want.
No, I don't mind, honestly, because it's something that, like, I always look back on, and like our manager, like he always said to us, even if we lost the game, he was like, "Listen, I still want us to play this way. Like, we will get it right. We will get it right." And he believed in us. And obviously, a lot of players left, new players came in. And then obviously since January, February, we cracked on, and then we went, I can't remember, 15 games, maybe unbeaten or something, towards the end of the season. And then, we got promoted, and it was unbelievable. Like, I remember when we started picking up wins at the end of February, maybe, we were coming in, like, sometimes, like, joking, saying we were creeping up the table, we were getting to 14th, we were getting to 12th. And we were, like, saying to each other, there's 15 games left. If we can win 12, we'll get promoted. And then we were winning again, and we were going, okay, win 11, win 10. And then we kept on doing it, and then we were like, we're actually going to do this. I remember like 2-3 games left, we obviously messed up when we played Exeter at home. Yeah, we obviously messed up that day with all the fans, obviously. Outside and
scored as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Are you trying to blame us? Is that what it is?
No, I'm just saying, like, we obviously messed up as a team. Like, we were devastated because obviously it was so weird that season because obviously we had none of you fans in the stadium. It was, and honestly, when you came that day, and when we were walking into the stadium, just seeing all the fans, it was like a bit weird because obviously COVID and we hadn't been around anyone like for so long, and obviously we were there because all we were saying that day was, oh, if we can win this game, we can go outside the stadium and celebrate with the fans. But then obviously we messed up, and then we had Crawley away, and that was But I knew honestly, and I know everyone's probably said this, like when we came off that pitch. And in the change rooms after that Exeter game, no one said a word for about 15, 20 minutes in the changing rooms. And I just remember the manager saying, like, we'll do it next week. Mm. And we were all gobsmacked. We were all like, oh, no. But I knew from the minute we walked out that stadium, we were going to win next Saturday. Just because it hurt everyone so much that day that we didn't do it. I knew that every lad would come in on that Monday in training and everyone would be on it every single day preparing for Crawley. And I knew
you probably bottled it up, didn't you? That emotion, that feeling, and just think, right, we'll use this for advantage type of thing.
No, definitely. Because I just remember I've never been in a change room like that before after a loss before.
What could be said about that though, Geth? Really, because you've got to have the right characters in the dressing room for that to work. Do you get what I mean? You know, you need to fury, done it, like not to believe in that and fail type of thing.
No, 100%. Yeah, like we had a brilliant squad like that season, obviously, and it probably helped to be honest that we had obviously Gillo Jilks to obviously he was a player coach and he'd obviously played Premier League. We had Alex Baptiste. Like he was unbelievable in the changing rooms, and like the older lads back then, like you had Doyle and like Sars was obviously the captain at the time, and us other lads were obviously just coming through. But you just knew that day that we were going to do it the following week. Like we didn't really speak about it on the Monday. We just took it as another day, and we was just like we didn't think if we win next Saturday we're promoted. We just took it as another game. Like another game, mate, and we're gonna go down there, do business, and just win a football game.
I think sorry, Geth. Having Kieran Lee in your squad in League Two probably helps, though, doesn't it?
I always forget Kieran Lee because he was so quiet. He just went about his business every single day. Honestly, we called him the GOAT. We called him.
Yeah.
So before, when you said about the GOAT, you should have just said him.
Kieran Lee. No, but honestly, like he used to just come in, like quiet, good lad, Key, and he just do his business and go home. And it was the same on match days. Like he just used to drift through games, and he was just unbelievable. So just having someone like Kieran. But I remember that day in Crawley, and I think we went 2-0 up, and then Crawley player got a red card, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Rico hadn't realised that he got sent off, and I was going to Reeks. Reeks. Like, I was smiling at him because we were 2-0 up. And Rico was like, what? I was like, sent off. And he looked at me and was like that's when we knew we're doing it that day. And then obviously, it was just a brilliant weekend in the end.
What a day, in the words of Chris Dawson.
Oh, what a day. The first time we ever met you, though, as players, because we've just had a message in the post from Jack Halliwell who said he was outside the gates at Crawley waiting, and Darren Prattley feeding us pizza and all that kind of stuff.
Sorry?
Darren Pratt. Where was Darren Pratt? I was just reading that. I was thinking, hang on a minute.
You got to elaborate on that, Jack.
Jack, can you fill us in on that? Because he's not played for us for a while. But I remember being at the hotel afterwards. I always drag this story out, but it was like the first time that we actually got to see you as people. And it was obviously it was surreal for the players, but equally very, very surreal for us as fans to actually see what we're watching on iFollow all season, and then seeing you come running out the hotel. I think MJ was the first one to come running out, and it was a mad moment.
Yeah, no, I remember it very well. Like, I just remember, obviously, a couple of lads were sick on the bus on the way back from the few drinks. But
who again?
You know this.
No, don't you?
Oh, we do know. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
George is done with
George.
Nah, but I just remember, like, we were getting closer to Bolton, and then the driver was telling us that we couldn't just go straight back to the stadium. We were like, why? We were like, there's a lot of fans there. we all knew that Bolton was a massive club, but because we hadn't experienced it all season, it was still a big shock for us. We were like, oh my god, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
midnight as well, isn't it?
Virus techniques going off.
Yeah. So I remember obviously getting back to the stadium, and we couldn't get off the bus, could we? So we had to drive off. The police are like, no, you need to drive.
Yeah.
And then,
we thought he'd gone. We've been waiting there hours as well. We thought, oh no, they've gone now. Jack's just mentioned that it was he's seemingly got Darren Prattley and Alex Baptiste.
no.
I don't know. I just managed that.
Oh, Baps.
No, that was an unbelievable weekend, because I remember the police even telling us, like, listen, we're going to put in the back of the vans, sneak you around the stadium, and once you get into the hotel and you can carry on partying, like, don't go outside.
Yeah.
And we were all looking at each other as players. We were like, I am going outside. We're going outside. And then I remember the manager saying, no, come on, you're going out. And then I remember as well, we were upstairs and we just started running downstairs. And obviously celebrating with the fans. That was good, yeah.
Yeah, good time for that.
So just going back, you spoke briefly about what football meant to you as a kid, kind of at Everton as a 13, 14-year-old. But what does it mean to you now as the vice captain of Bolton Wanderers Football Club? What does football mean to Gethin Jones?
It's still like an honour. Every time I always think, like, oh, vice captain of Bolton, like, it's massive to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember the day the manager pulled me on it, we was on the training pitch and he came up to me and was like, listen, I want you to be the vice captain. And I was just a bit like, wow, like, from where I've come from, because there's no one, like, in my area back in Wales, there's no one ever made it in football, like, not at league level or anything. So I'm, like, obviously I was, like, proud enough to be, like, the first footballer to come out of my area, but then, like, to be a vice captain now of Bolton, like, such a massive club, like a club that everyone knows about. I'm obviously very proud of that, and obviously just want to keep going and doing well for Bolton.
How much of it's a question that I've been meaning to ask for a while, actually, when we've had guests on who've played in the team in League Two when we were behind closed doors. How much of a challenge was it for you to then go from no fans to, like, 20,000+ in the stadium? Because, like, from where I was sat, I was wondering, like, this must be difficult for these lads. Like, the expectation straight away in it, you know, is on you.
No, it was weird. It was very weird, like, because obviously because it's such a, like, good and big stadium as well. Like, on match days, like, you know, like, little things, as in when he's shouting at someone, it would echo around the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no fans there. Like, just little things like that was just so strange. And honestly, it was, like, very difficult to get yourself up for games as well, knowing that you're going to the stadium, like, you might be playing away somewhere and there's no fans there. Because honestly, sometimes, like, going to away grounds, like, it gives you a buzz knowing that their fans might hate you. Like I like it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I get called a Welsh so and so. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I love it. I thrive off that. Like when the fans will be saying stuff to me when I'm taking a throw in or whatever, I'll just look back at them and smile. Do you know what I mean? I buzz off it, like, because obviously if we come off the pitch at the end and win, like,
You've won.
do you know what I mean?
Like,
But it was very difficult. It was very difficult, and then I think the first game we obviously had your fans back was it the pre-season game against Blackburn?
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, actually, yeah.
And I just remember like walking into the stadium that day, and manager was like, come on, we're going to go out there today and show the fans like what we're all about. And I just remember walking out and just from experiencing a whole season, not like when the manager shouts and stuff like you can hear it. You can hear it. When you're trying to shout at Rico, say I'm trying to shout at Rico on the pitch, he couldn't hear me. I was like, Reeks. But because we got so used to having no fans, it was obviously difficult again to get used to having fans back in, because things changed on the pitch for us. Like, say I'm shouting at a striker. Yes, if I'm striking at a striker to do a job or something, they wouldn't hear me. So it was a big change for us players, but obviously it was massive for you as well, and obviously it was unbelievable to get your fans back.
So where are we now? We're well over 100 appearances for the Wanderers now, and it's pretty clear you become Mr. Consistent, Mr. 7.5 out of 10 every week. You know what I mean? But obviously, without any sort of disrespect, for a brief spell, that perhaps wasn't the case, and obviously we found out why in time. How difficult is it, Geth, when fans are criticising your form? When there's more to life than football, and there's obviously underlying reasons for that from a personal perspective. How difficult is that?
Yeah, it's difficult. Obviously, like every sometimes I think fans. I'm not just saying like Bolton fans. Like
No.
I'm just saying like they sort of forget that we're actually human beings. Do you know what I mean? We're not just robots that go on a football pitch and kick a ball. Do you know what I mean? Like we've actually got lives outside of football, and people might be struggling with things. And so it's difficult sometimes because obviously the way social media is nowadays. But listen, like we're in the industry, like we know what we were getting ourselves into when we first wanted to play football, and it was difficult, obviously, to come home and stuff. And if you've had a bad game, like I'd literally just throw my phone away and I wouldn't want to look at it because I knew it would affect me. Like as time's gone on, like I've got better with it. After everything that's happened, I obviously know there's more to life than football. And if I've had a bad game, like obviously I'm still disappointed and obviously annoyed at myself. But I then turned around and said, like, there's a lot of things that happen in life, and I'll just crack on and look forward to going back in on Monday and putting it right on the pitch.
Fair play for answering that as well, mate. Thank you.
No problem.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm just going to read a quote. I think it was from Mark at the Bolton News, and you said, honestly, without this club, I wouldn't be playing football right now. When it happened, I could have quit football. Everyone was here to support me, and it was an emotional day. But that goal was for my mum, and that was when you scored at Wembley. And now that's obviously something that very few people can even begin to relate to, or even imagine how it must feel. So as a player, how did that affect you and your family? And did it make it more difficult, perhaps, playing for a club that values people and obviously the fans and the community so much?
Yeah, listen, like everything that's happened, like I can't thank Sharon, the club, the manager, my teammates, and obviously you fans for all the support. Like myself and my family got through everything, and like it was very difficult. Football was like an escape for me at the time. Like during everything, like I just remember like when I was away from football, like it was just very dark, and like I was always trying to get home and look after my mum and stuff. And do everything to help her. And after she passed away, obviously Sharon and the manager said, listen, like, just take as much time away from football as you want. And I remember just saying to myself, I'll take this week and then I'll come back. But I wasn't ready to come back, like, at all. And the manager understood. I was like ringing the manager saying, like, listen, like, I don't think I'm ready to come back yet. And he was like, honestly, don't feel pressure to come back at all. Like, take as much time as you want. And then I just remember the funeral when, like, the whole squad and Sharon, the manager, and everyone came down all the way down to Wales. And that's when I knew, like, this is just a family club. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sharon's unbelievable, the manager. And that's when I knew after the funeral, I want to go back now, because I've got teammates there. I'm not on my own. Like, if I go into football, like, I'll know they'll still look after me when I'm in. And the manager was the same. Like, he was every single day when I was back in training, he was like, listen, are you okay? Like, are you sure you want to come back? And I was like, no, I do want to be back. And I just wanted to give something back to, obviously, the fans, the club, Sharon, the manager, and just wanted to play my part in playing football again. And it was difficult, obviously, because it's such a massive club, and obviously the pressure and, like, delivering every single week, playing like 20,000 fans and going out there and doing it. And it was difficult, but the manager and the club and everyone was so positive and, like, keeping me on my feet and, like, looking after me. That's what got me through it. And I still stick to it now. Like, when my mum passed away, and I literally could have, like, just quit football. Like, I didn't know what to do. And being, like, the oldest for my younger brother, my younger sister, and obviously my dad, I was just trying to, like, look after them as well. And I didn't really take time to look after myself either, which made it hard. But yeah, I just wanted to come back to football, and because the amount of support I got given from you fans and Sharon and the manager and everyone, my teammates, like, I knew I wanted to come back because they were so supportive of me and my family. I just wanted to give something back.
Yeah, a big contributor, Geth, to the support that the club give you was the match for MND. Obviously, when the former players came, and obviously you had a match with them. What was that like for you?
No, it was good. Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. I remember the club telling me that they wanted to sort of organise a weekend for my mum and stuff. So we obviously did, like, a black tie dinner on the Saturday night, and then obviously the game on the Sunday. But I remember the club telling me, we're sort like getting these legends over who played obviously the game in the past and stuff. And I was thinking, like, okay, but I was thinking to myself, it's going to be so hard getting JJ Okocha over and stuff like that. And then I remember one day, like, I can't remember who it was exactly now. I might have been on Twitter, actually. I remember Kevin Davis just followed me on Twitter, and then obviously followed him back, and then he just started messaging me. And he was like, listen, pal, like, sorry about everything, but I've looked into, like, what you're doing. I want to help you and bring all the players back. So I was like, wow, okay, right. So he was in constant, like, phone calls, texts. I remember being home one weekend back in Wales, like, looking after my mum, seeing my dad and stuff. And then I just remember Kevin Davis, like, texting me. It was about 9:30 at night, saying, "Is there any chance I can call you?" So I was like, "Yeah," because normally he would leave me alone at night and stuff. But I knew it would be something quite important or, like, good. And he rang me and was like, "We've got him." I was like, "Who?" And he's like, "We've got JJ Okocha coming." Got him. I was like, "What?" And obviously, my mum didn't really know, like, who JJ Okocha was, because yes, she was a football fan, but not massive.
Yeah.
And didn't know, like, her players and stuff. But because we'd spoke about it so much in the house and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember coming off the phone, like, saying, like, JJ Okocha's coming. I just remember, like, the smile on her face. Like, it was just like, and that, like, obviously hit me and stuff. And I just couldn't thank, like, obviously Kevin Davis at the same time, like, bringing all the players over, and the club managed to bring loads of players. sorting it all out, sorting their accommodation when they come over and stuff. And no, it was just an amazing weekend. But I was just obviously frustrated myself because I was injured, so I couldn't even play.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I remember because I was on the side, and the manager said to me that morning, he was like, "Listen, you can be the manager of our team." So I was like, "Right, okay." And then I remember, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Alan Stubbs, maybe, because obviously I knew Alan Stubbs from my days at Everton.
Everton, yeah.
And I remember being on the side of the pitch, and Alan Stubbs was like shouting me to come on. But I was like, I was in me like, you know, I was like,
you're in jeans, aren't you?
he was just take the kick off. But I hadn't started jogging yet, like, or anything in training. Like, I was still like walking. And I remember started jogging, and I remember hearing Matt Barris behind me, the physio, shouting, "Oi, what are you doing, jogging?" I remember him shouting me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm injured, aren't I?" But because I just like was so unexpected, I just started jogging all of a sudden, and then no, it was just an unbelievable day. The whole weekend really, and honestly, it raised so much money, not just for me, mum, just for like Stephen Darby, like he's been his foundation, everything to do with M&D, like it's just something that I'm still looking in the future to like raise a lot more money and raise awareness to the cruel disease and stuff. So yeah, no, it was just an unbelievable weekend.
But to be fair, Geth, though, you probably consider yourself quite lucky that you didn't play, because you wouldn't want 50-odd-year-old JJ Koch taking the mickey out of you.
No. If I would have played, I would have just asked to be a keeper or something. Do you know what I mean? It was unbelievable to see so many players, obviously Campo and stuff back, and these are all players that we'd look up to when we were like kids and stuff, like seeing them playing in the Premier League and stuff, and then seeing them on the pitch against us, and no, it was just an unbelievable weekend. Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with Kev Davis?
Well, Kev Davis, yeah, he does message every so often, like asking how things are and stuff, and obviously keeps track on like how we're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, no, he was unbelievable through everything like that was going on there, and no, he still looks into like how we do and stuff. Yeah.
It's probably a good thing that you see in that side of Kevin Davis and the one on the pitch, because I don't think you probably want to play against him, would you?
No, I know he's quite there. He wasn't. He throwing elbows about and stuff. So, yeah,
pretty sure if he was still playing now, he'd be sent off pretty much every day.
I remember before the game in the tunnel, I remember like me saying to him like take it easy on the lads today. And he was like, he said to me, I've been training the last few weeks to be good. So I was thinking, someone's going to get injured today. But it was good to have them all over. Yeah.
So then, Geth, obviously after what was a pretty horrendous, mentally draining and physically draining year that you'd had, you managed to get to Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
And then not only did you play at Wembley, you scored at Wembley. So how did that feel, both kind of personally, like for your mental health, and professionally?
Yeah, it was honestly, like, I say this all the time, like I still can't remember most of that game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just because like we blew Plymouth away, and like I remember when I scored, I came off the pitch and I was thinking to myself, how did I actually score that goal? I can't remember how I scored it. And I remember going on my phone and like seeing all my mates like sending me videos and stuff, and I was like, is that how I scored? Like, it was just something like, I can't describe it. Like, it was obviously very emotional, considering everything with my mum and stuff, because like the hardest thing was when my mum got diagnosed. Obviously, we were looking already that season to get into the playoffs, and obviously that was our aim that season.
Yeah.
And my mum always said, "Listen, like, however I am, like, I'm making sure I'm coming down to Wembley if you make the playoff final." Well, obviously, it wasn't the playoff final because obviously it was the Papa Johns, but obviously it was still maybe an opportunity for her to make it to Wembley to come and watch me. And I think that's what hit me the most that day, knowing that I had 40, 45 family members and friends travelled all the way down. And I just remember when I scored, like, it was just so emotional. Like, I just started obviously crying and stuff. And I just remember Rico.
I think a lot of us started crying with you guys.
Oh, no, it was just so unexpected. Like it was nothing. Like it just came out of nowhere, and I just remember thinking like, from her telling me that she wanted to come to Wembley to watch me play, and obviously she couldn't be there. And then I just remember like feeling a big arm around my shoulder, Rico, and he was like, "Come on and celebrate with the fans." And then that's when I obviously started running over to the fans and stuff. And it was obviously, that goal was obviously for my mum, but it was obviously for the whole club and obviously the fans and stuff, for all the support I got through everything.
Jeez, special. Sorry.
There's a lot of people chopping onions in the chat as well.
I'll tell you what it was for me. It wasn't so. I mean, the reaction to the goal. I just remember when we went to collect the trophy. There was a shot of Sharon embracing you as the trophy was being handed out, and the medals were being handed out, and she grabbed you and hugged you, and it was like she was doing it with all the players, but it just seemed to mean more, that particular embrace, and that was like that was what sent me over the edge. It was such a beautiful moment. That
honestly, like, I can't thank Sharon enough. Like, everything she's done for me, my mum and family, like, she will still be in contact all the time now. And Sharon like travelled to Wales a few times to see my mum. Like, even after that weekend, she went to see my mum and stuff. And anytime my mum was coming up to a game or something, like, she didn't get to come up often, but Sharon would make sure she was always there to go and see her. And they had an instant connection, Sharon and my mum. And she's still in contact, Sharon, with my dad. She still texts my little sister all the time. Like, my little sister came up to a game a few weeks ago, and Sharon like texted my sister saying, like, if you come in, like, just make sure you come and see me. So my little sister got to go and see her in a chairman's suite and stuff. And I'm in constant dialogue with Sharon myself. Like, she's been unbelievable with me, and that's why, like, that's why I wouldn't be playing football if it wasn't for Sharon and this club and the manager and stuff. Because everything that I went through, like, I don't think I would have got that kind of support anywhere else. Not being disrespectful to any other team or anything, but it was just the way Sharon was and the manager was and my teammates at the time was. They were just all supportive towards me and my family and stuff. And yeah, it was special.
I have to say, we've got the chat dialogue going down the right-hand side of the screen here, which obviously, Geth, you can't see.
Yeah.
I thought you guys, but I've never seen so many amazing words and beautiful sort of sentiments ever since we've had a player on here. And that includes, well, you've seen who we've had on. It's unreal. It genuinely is. It's lovely. I think it speaks volumes.
I'm getting quite emotional.
I am proper.
Turn your camera off.
I've connected with the fans, like, and I'm hoping, like, it's not just because of everything that's happening as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I've obviously been here 3.5 years now, and I've loved every single minute. And like, it would just be a dream for me now to get this club back to where it belongs. You know what I mean? And for me personally,
and you've been there from the start, Geth. You've been there. That regeneration. We've been with you all the way.
That's what I think makes it special. Like, obviously, it's only me and Rico that's left. Obviously, you had young George Thompson coming through the ranks at the time, but he wasn't officially a first-team player when I first came in. So it was literally just me and Rico that the manager brought in. And we're still the only two players. And it would just be special from that season to rebuild, to get the club back up to at least the Championship. Do you know what I mean? So, I've loved every minute.
Your thing is as well, you're obviously coming into your prime now, aren't you? So, like, from a football perspective, you're at your peak, aren't you? Do you get what I mean? So, like, your contribution on the football side of things is huge. so that obviously that it's only going to help us progress if you can carry on performing the way you're doing. Obviously.
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, like when we first came in, like I said, like we were all just getting to know each other, and like I've said it in interviews before, where every 6 months I've been here, we've always progressed. We've always progressed, and that's the way the manager is, and the way Sharon is, and the way we go about it in training every single day. Like we never rest on. We go every single day. Like I think lads have said it in interviews before, where when we go out in training, like the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of training, you always do a little passing drill. But if the passing drill's not right, the manager will be screaming at you, like saying 20 press-ups. And that's just, it's constant all the lads. Like we just want to be winners every single day in everything that you do, whether that's like training, like the gym, looking after yourself off the pitch. Just do the best you can, because it is a short career. Short career. And the manager always says it, like he misses big games sometimes, and when we play in big games, he always says to us, these are the kind of games that I wish I was playing in today. So
that's it, innit?
You need to yeah, and you need to not waste your time, because it goes quickly. Like I find it bonkers now that I've been at the club nearly 4 years. Like it's gone like that. Like it just goes past like so quick, and you just need to take it in every single day and enjoy it. Obviously, like don't put too much stress on yourself, because if you put too much stress, then your performances start to dip. Like you need to be relaxed going into games. You need to believe in yourself, which is something the manager does brilliantly every single day with every single one of us. Whether you're a striker, keeper, defender, midfielder, the striker's out scoring, he'll keep saying to him, "Listen, you're my player. I brought you in for a reason." It gives them belief. And that's why we were so devastated recently that, like, Dan will probably be like first to admit that he wasn't getting the best of times at Bolton when he first came, and obviously he's been performing really well recently. And then when he obviously got injured last week, we were all absolutely devastated for him.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes time for players to come into clubs and like bed into the way we play, settle in properly, not just on the field, off the field. And it just seemed like it sort of clicked with Dan in the end. And obviously it's just a little setback for him, but we've all been supportive. We've all been messaging him, looking after him and making sure he's all well.
There's a lot of information, obviously, you got to take on board in there as well, from a tactical standpoint that, not necessarily players are going to get straight away. It does take a little bit of time, doesn't it, to take all that information on board, I would have thought.
Yeah, 100%. Like, listen, every team trains differently, plays differently.
Yeah.
Everything off the pitch, even gym, is different. The way we go about things obviously at Bolton with the manager and stuff, like everything is intense. The way we play is intense. Training is very intense. We do a lot of gym after training. And obviously we've seen like a lot of players who've just come in recently, maybe in the last 2 years, 2.5 years. The first couple of months they've struggled, not just maybe on the pitch, but physically, because it's so demanding, everything that we do every single day on the training pitch, match days. And honestly, it's a massive help that we can make 5 subs in games.
Yeah.
I've always said it, the way we attack and the way we defend as a team, like it starts from the strikers. So when we get clean sheets as defenders, we're applauding the strikers, because the amount of running they do to set it off, like from the start, is unbelievable. And it would be impossible for them to do it for the whole 90-minute game. Which is why it's so helpful that we get to do 5 subs and bring fresh legs on, and then they come on and blow teams away. It can be difficult for players to come in to start off with, like you said, like different kind of style. The way we want to play on and off the ball is different. We want to build from the back and stuff and play attractive football. So it takes a lot of time for players to bed into what we do on and off the pitch, but it soon come all together and the lads do well.
Won't mind seeing Dion's vest stats, from his GPRS.
I know. He doesn't stop.
The Duracell bunny.
I call it the wasp. I call him the wasp. Me and my dad, I said to my dad, I call him the wasp. Yeah.
It's the same in training though, and it has to start from training. You can't just jog around in training and expect to turn it on match days, because that's when your legs won't be able to take it. That's when you do pull up with muscle injuries and stuff from if you're not working hard in training and then expecting to just go out there on a Saturday and sprint 150 times or something if they under it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will pull up with injuries, and he's the same in training. Honestly, he's horrible to play against.
He is, yeah.
Like sometimes, like the end of training, like there'll be 10 minutes left and he's been out for maybe 2 hours and stuff. He'll still be at it, and I look at him and I'm like,
smack it.
So it's unbelievable. Like I said, it starts from the front, and us defenders, like, obviously we take the plaudits from the clean sheets, but it's a team thing, and it's the same when we score, like, because we normally build out from the back and stuff, and we play attractive football. So we score as a team, we concede as a team, we win as a team, and we lose as a team. And if we lose, we just learn from it. And obviously, I know our record in recent years has been good. We haven't really had back-to-back defeats and stuff, but touch wood, obviously. But we obviously react from defeats and stuff, and it's something that we've done really well in, and it's just a concentration that all the lads have got.
Just going back to the subjects of your mum, something that we're keen to do is sort of get some support from the viewers using whatever channels we can. So how can the viewers support Derby Rimmer, MND, as a charity? I
think it's just linked. I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, like, we did a little something back home for M&D Association. They've, I think, got a link where you can, like, just give money, and something that my agent does every Christmas now. Like, instead of like he does so much for me anyway, he doesn't have to, but instead of getting me like a little gift or something, he donates money to M&D Association. We've got Derby Rimmers Foundation. Like, honestly, Darbs, he was unbelievable with me. Like, and my mum. Like, I remember Darbs just, like, wanted to get in contact. He spoke to my mum, came over to ours in Liverpool to meet my mum. And then instantly, when the club obviously said that they wanted to do something for my mum and stuff, it was us as a family. We decided that we wanted to give 25% of whatever we make to go to Derby Rimmers Foundation, because he's obviously, for him, we just couldn't believe he's going through the same thing that my mum was going through. But he was so positive. Like, he was just so good in the way he spoke to me. He was looking after me sometimes, but he's got MND, and I couldn't get my head around it. I literally couldn't get my head around it, and I still check up on Darbs now. I'll still message him every so often, check up, see how he is and stuff.
Make sure you send him our best wishes.
Yeah,
as well.
I will.
Please do that.
So loved at Bolton.
Yeah, and the link is in the chat. I think it's just posted.
Oh, good. Yeah. So they've been unbelievable. Derby Rimmers Foundation, and obviously us as a family, we want to obviously give something back to M&D Association as well, because they had people who we could ring up and speak to if we were struggling, whenever we want to do as well. So they were supportive with us as well. So yeah, both of them were really good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, I mean, it's not going to be massive, but we'll get it out there.
Do what we can.
Cheers. Thank you.
Do our little bit.
We're going to move on to some guest questions. We've had a couple that came in throughout the episode, and obviously on our socials. Nothing too detailed, nothing too scary. If you've got any that you want to ask Geth, then drop them in the chat before it's too late, and we'll get some of them on. But Brandon's asked. He said every time Geth comes out for the second half, without fail, he's munching something. And what's the bar that he's granning?
That's a hell of an observation, that, isn't it?
It's not. I'm not eating anything. It's called what are they called now? It's a gel.
Yeah,
like the energy gel thing.
Energy gel, yeah. But I should really take it before I come out, because it sometimes obviously takes like 10, 15 minutes to get into your system and stuff. But I remember doing it like one game, and I think I must have played well or something. But I'm quite superstitious in my ways on game days and stuff, like what I eat, what time I eat, what time I get to the stadium, put my left boot on before my right boot.
Yeah.
And I remember just one day like doing that, like taking the gel. So I remember running over to the other side in the second half, clapping the fans. It's the same thing all the time, clapping the fans, taking a drink, open the gel.
Throwing your bottle.
Throwing your bottle.
Yeah.
You were saying before, Geth, that you think that fans don't like look at players as robots. You literally are being a robot, aren't you?
Only on game day, though. Only on game day, though. But so the energy gels, I'm not munching on anything.
Good question.
Was he expecting him to say Snickers or something? Is that what he was?
We've had another one that came in this afternoon from Noah, and he's asked, what's your favourite memory at Bolton? Obviously, we've been through a couple this evening, but if you could pick one that stands out, which one is it?
Can I say, you can't pick Wembley because that's the obvious.
Colin, you can pick what he wants.
Come on. That is obviously going to be the best one, isn't it?
Because that would be too obvious, wouldn't it? Like,
exactly.
Obviously that would be number one. That is a difficult one. Honestly, I think League 2 promotion when we came back to the stadium.
Nice.
I can't describe it because we obviously didn't have the fans there all season. And like I said to you in the podcast, it was just surreal to see all the fans there at whatever time o'clock it was, and it was just something that we all experienced, and it was very different and no one will be able to say that ever again in football.
No.
Because let's be honest, that's not going to happen in football again.
No.
COVID's not going to happen where there's no fans in the stadium. So we can probably be a team saying that we struggled in the start of the season, but then went on to get promotion and just enjoyed that weekend with the fans when we got back to the stadium. So I'd have to say that's probably up there, yeah.
Bolton. Chloe said, who's your best friend in the team?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's a hard one, isn't it?
Obviously, like I said, MJ I was really close with, but obviously MJ's moved on. But there's a few of the lads that I'm quite close. So I wouldn't say there's anyone in particular. I'm obviously Rico I've known for years now. You've got Toley, who's a great lad, Owen Toll. I'm close with Demps, from knowing him in the past and stuff. And we're close to George Johnston, who's he's hilarious in his own kind of way. He is hilarious.
How far can he go, Geth? From your perspective,
George.
Yeah.
You
can tell, can't you? He's got it.
Yeah. No, he's good. But no, I'd say there's 4 or 5 lads that I'm really close with. I'm not going to single anyone out, but I would say obviously MJ when he was there. But there's a few of the lads now that I'm quite close with.
Speaking of Jono, so every episode when we have a guest on, our last guest leaves a question for the next one.
Wow.
And our previous guest before our 1 year special was Mr. George Johnston. So he wasn't happy with just one question. He wanted 2. So his first one, this is an all right one. He said, if there was a movie about Gethin Jones, which actor would play Gethin Jones?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. Who would I say? I love Denzel Washington, and I love Gerard Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Them kind of films, like action films. I'd have to pick them as actors, but I'd probably go with Gerard Butler. To be fair, yeah.
So it's a solid choice.
Solid
Now
choice.
his second one. He's asked, who's going to lose their hair first? Will it be him or will it be you?
I knew there was going to be something stupid coming. And you know what? He knows, I don't even have to answer it. I'm not going to embarrass him. Embarrass him live. Do you know what I mean? But I've shown him. We always banter each other in training, in the physio room every day, and like the lads are onto it now that we always get on each other. But all I'm saying is George is already looking on maybe getting a hair transplant.
I was just going to say,
so
maybe the question is,
the bus.
Maybe the question is, who's going to be going to Turkey first?
He's a good lad, George. We always joke around about it, but I knew there was going to be something stupid like that that come into one of the questions. George, I'd have to go George.
Yeah, we'll pass it on. I'm sure if he's not watching, we'll let him know what you've said, and we'll pass it on. But that rounds off this evening's episode. So a huge thank you to Geth for joining us. We massively appreciate you taking the time out for us, mate.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. Like, obviously, I've seen all the lads do it before, and I was looking forward to come on.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. A huge thank you to all of you who've tuned in this evening and putting your comments on. It's been unbelievably busy. So much going on. So thank you all very, very much for joining us. And just before we finish...
You kind of expect that, to be fair. He's vice captain of the club. It weren't busy tonight, then we've got problems. You know what I mean?
Indeed. And just before we finish, a huge shout out to the folks over at Eco One Windows, headline sponsors of the Fanzone podcast for the 2023-24 season. If you want to find out more about them, then head over to our website, www.thefanzonepod.co.uk. They're over there, and so are the rest of our sponsors, so go and have a nosy. But a huge thank you once again for joining us. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you later.
Sure.